Welcome back to Heritage Cafe. We join you here in December for, at least in our family, the Christmas season. I think the PC term now is the holiday season.
Yeah.
But everyone's welcome. Everyone's included. So these are holiday cookies that we're making for you this month. Just things that reminded us of sweets and pastries and deliciousness around this holiday season.
Right. I was thinking actually, why don't we make these cookies all year round? There's no reason why we couldn't, right? I mean, if they're decorated, you would decorate them in the season that's there. We could make Christmas cookies, holiday cookies all year long. I guess that's what makes them special. So we only do it once a year.
Yeah, if you roll them out constantly all throughout the season, some of that luster is going to start to wear off, and then they're just cookies.
Then they're just oatmeal cookies. Yeah.
No, you know what though? I will say, in my age, I have come to appreciate oatmeal raisin cookies a whole lot more than as a child.
Wow, I never gave you oatmeal raisins, so that's a real improvement. I know you got to have that fiber now that you're, another decade older.
Yeah, I'll find myself selecting that from like the company lunch spread instead of like a sugar cookie or a chocolate chip.
Yeah, well, it's more filling. That's what I always said.
So I did make chocolate chip cookies that I am not going to classify as holiday cookies. I had no clue how the electric oven here in the desert was going to respond to me, as I am not a baker. So I did make chocolate chip cookies first, as just kind of like a primer for me on how to use the oven and to see if I could actually make cookies.
Could you?
They turned out pretty good. I'm enjoying them. I need some milk to drink with them because they are just a touch dry. But overall, I think they turned out pretty good. The flavor's right where it's supposed to be.
Good. Did you have to have 2% milk or whole milk, or is that another whole show?
That's probably a different show, but I'm a 2% guy.
Oh, okay.
chocolate milk with cookies. You can do the 1% chocolate milk.
There you go. Okay, I'm with you there. Okay.
So the actual holiday cookies I made, that I made for the very first time, I think ever solo or with help, was the peanut butter kiss cookies. Essentially peanut butter cookies with a Hershey's Kiss pressed into the middle of them.
Yes.
And they turned out pretty well. They're really easy to make. I cheated a little bit. I used an electric hand mixer because I wasn't going to do all that stirring on either set of cookies. But it worked really well. With all that peanut butter in there, way easier to beat up than the chocolate chip cookie dough was. Just a little creamier of a base.
Yeah. Where did you get the recipe?
So this recipe is actually from Betty Crocker.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's just their boilerplate holiday recipe. They even classify them as holiday cookies.
Okay.
So I struggled a little bit with the oven time. The first batch was a little overcooked. They got pretty crumbly. And the second batch was a little undercooked, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially when you don't believe in salmonella. And then the third batch, there's only like 6 left, but I was able to give them a lot of time and attention, and they turned out just about perfect.
Beautiful. Does the chocolate Hershey's Kiss completely melt, or does it stay in its form, or what?
No, so I don't know what it's supposed to do. I've only ever seen them holding their form, but the cookies held a lot of warmth. So when I was eating them, maybe 30 minutes later, the Hershey's Kiss was still really melty, but it was still in the shape of a kiss.
Yummy. Very nice.
Really good.
Yeah, I would guess the dryness in the oven probably keeps the outside of that chocolate in its form, right? Unless it gets really
almost
hot.
like a shell.
Right.
Yeah, I was surprised with myself. They were edible. They were enjoyable. So I was very pleased with the outcome.
Now, how close or dissimilar, or do you remember them to like Aunt Rita's Hershey's Kiss cookies?
Yeah, so the big thing
her
that
dough being a peanut butter base. I thought her dough was kind of a sugar cookie base. I'm not sure now.
Yeah, so the big thing that set this apart from anything that I was expecting or even had ever seen is you take the rolled up dough and then you roll it again in more granulated sugar. and you actually
Oh,
put a sugar coat on the outside before you bake it. And I
okay.
never would have thought to
No.
do that. They looked
Mm-mm.
exactly as they were in my mind, so I don't know if that's part of that base recipe or not.
Right.
But definitely contributed to the overall package of it.
Do you think you could put a Hershey's, no, a Reese's peanut butter cup, one of those miniatures, in this cookie? Would that work, or would be too much peanut butter taste, or what?
I love peanut butter. I think that would be amazing. It would probably
Next
work the
time.
same way. Just put the top end down, and it's essentially the same shape.
Is that what you
Yeah.
did? You upside down the Hershey's Kiss?
No, I'm saying you go upside down the peanut butter cup, and it'll have the same general form. The pyramid-ish
Oh, oh,
form.
oh, oh. Instead of a crown. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
I think I might give that a shot this afternoon.
Well, I decided to totally make myself miserable and make Spritz cookies. Spritz cookies, it's a German cookie, and it's made with a press. It means squirt, basically. And so you use a cookie press. Well, I am using my mom's Miro cookie press, and it is a miserable experience, and I can see why. It's only made once a year. But my curiosity this year was because my mother's Spritz cookie recipe is different than my grandmother's Spritz cookie recipe, and I was curious how those compared and how they tasted and what the difference was. Basically, my grandmother's Spritz cookie recipe calls for salt and baking powder, which is different, and it also calls for twice, I don't do math very well, a lot more almond flavoring than my mom's cookies do. But the
Okay.
butter to flour ratio was pretty much the same. So that was a little bit different. And they were a little bit different temperature to bake them too. So if you don't know Spritz cookies, you can color them, you can decorate them, but you push them through this canister through a form, and you get Christmas trees or stars or flowers or whatever. I literally threw my shoulder out doing these cookies. So I don't know if that's an indication of how hard it is or just how old I am. I'm not sure which, but trying to twist the it was bad. It was very bad. And so, yeah, I wasn't happy about that. But the end result was okay. It was good. And then my husband and I did a taste test as to which ones we preferred. And all of those are in our family cookbook. If you're interested in them later, Rick. And you all, if you're interested in getting the recipes, you can just put a comment down below, and I'll make sure that you get the recipes. But
So I
you
guess
want
what
to
I'm
know
most
who's won?
interested in is, yeah, which one won?
Well, it's very interesting because my mother's cookies, when you bite into them, it's almost like a big hunk of butter that's melting in your mouth. It's that kind of a texture. It's a very, I think, dense, creamy kind of texture. And that's the cookie I remember from, recently. I remember that. My grandmother's cookie, because it has granulated sugar in it, not powdered sugar, it has a bit more crunch to it. Not
Oh,
hard, but it had a little bit more bite to it. And the extra almond in it, bam. I took the first bite, and literally I was 7 years old standing in my grandmother's living room eating Christmas cookies. It was that powerful a reminder. So bottom line is both Dad and I preferred grandma's recipe, not my mom's recipe. So
okay.
that's interesting to know because I've been making those Spritz cookies forever. Here's another interesting thing about making cookies. My mom always made all the cookies every year, all the cookies. And when I would try to help her, she would be very, no, you're not doing that right, or no, those are too big, or no, they have to be like this. And it was not a pleasant experience to cook with my mom in the kitchen. But I'm 60 something years old, and I still have my mom's voice going off in my head about how those should be smaller and those should be, no, you need to do it like this. Good gravy. How old am I going to be before I let that go? Anyway, Christmas cookies. How much fun is that?
See, and I had a different experience because you always let us lick the beaters and the spoons, and so in between cookie batches, the dog and I are licking the beaters, and I just go to, I know they're clean, so I go to put them back in the beater. I'm like, I should probably wash those.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You might not believe in salmonella, but other people might. Oh boy, Christmas cookies are a lot of fun though. I made up a package for a neighbor, and that felt very much like what my mom used to do because she used to give cookies to everybody. So I just wish that I was closer to you so I could give you some.
Now, I do have to say, you have shipped Christmas cookies to us before,
I have.
and
Yes.
I'm looking around and I don't see a package of cookies here.
And you know what's so bizarre about that? This is the first year since we moved out to the mountains that I have an oven. I haven't had an oven in my house, and this is the first year I used to go to my neighbors and bake cookies and then ship them. But have you seen what it costs to ship stuff these days?
Yeah,
Holy cow.
yeah, that's fair.
There's actually a family joke because my mom, as she was getting older, didn't want to or couldn't do a lot of things. And I understand now why she said it was so tiring. Heck, my shoulder's just now coming back. But she used to ask me to ship the cookies to my brothers. And sometimes I would put it off and not get to it. And so the joke with my brother Fred is that he got his Christmas cookies by Easter. But hey, they were still good. So
Well, that's the thing. As long as
cookies
they're
don't
well
ever go bad.
packaged, and yeah, like even if they're a little stale, you just dip them in milk and you're good to go.
Yeah. All that sugar, it's a great preservative.
So that's our cookies. We
Yep.
wish everyone happy holidays, however and whatever you celebrate.
Yes.
January, we need to dial in on detail a little bit, but the concept is whiskey and wine.
Mm.
So if you like whiskey or you like wine, or if you're like me and you just drink both, we are going
Not
to
at the same
have, well, we are going to have some sort of episode based around cooking using whiskey and wine. So we'll have
Yep.
more details for that on the socials over the coming weeks here, but definitely be on the lookout for that. I do have to do a shameless plug. Fantasy Bachelor is coming back with ABC's The Bachelor in late January. Watch the channel for everything from Rose Show and Champagne and Thorns. Mom, you have anything to plug this week?
I just think people got to go back and check out my college bowl pick because, that was brilliant on my part. The only thing I didn't get to say about the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl is that the closest Jimmy Kimmel ever got to a football field was when he was in the marching band in high school. So just saying, anybody can get your name on a football game.
Yeah, if you have enough money, you can buy the naming rights to a bowl game.
Exactly.
It's just that easy.
Exactly.
So like and subscribe and help us get enough money to have our own bowl game. And we'll fly everybody out for that.
Right. Please comment if you want those recipes, and I will make sure that I get them to you. And this has been the Heritage Cafe, where we cook to connect.
And it's always more than a recipe. We'll see you next time.
Bye.